Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to the Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
And that would be me. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges. SWYM, it's the acronym for Say What You Mean. Why don't you say what you mean? I don't know. Why don't you mean what you say? I don't know that either, because I don't control you. Only you control you. But guess what? We will blame the sun, the moon. I don't blame it on the sunshine. I don't blame it on the moonlight. Don't blame it on the good times. Blame it on the boogie. Why is he in the dark? Well, I will tell you why I'm in the dark. I'm in the dark because I'm coming from a dark place today. Not a dark place of being, but a dark place of experiencing. You know, sometimes we have those moments like a roller coaster. We're up and we are down. So, if you're saying, I can't see him, where is he? Well, let's see. This is where I am, and this is where I'm going to be. I have a guest that's going to come up, but I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes, and I am 99.999% sure class is going to end early tonight. I will not be a full hour. You're probably saying, good, I wasn't going to stay here anyway. Well, fine. Anyway, the subject/topic tonight is bullying, the ultimate fight back. And if I was at a boxing match and I was the announcer, I would say, let's get ready to rumble. And that's exactly what we're going to do via talk about talking. So I'm going to try to set the scenario for you so you can see how I came about the topic of bullying, the ultimate fight back. Okay, you ready? Oh, by the way, the Hollywood Home Studio will be back in operation in just a few more short weeks. I was there last week doing some test runs and everything just fell through. Not because it wasn't ready. It fell through because I wasn't ready for it to be ready. What? It'll be ready. I'm working on it, and I'm gonna have some stuff, because right now I would have some theme music playing. You know, I'd have all kind of little fun stuff that I plan on doing. But I'm here right now, and I'm just going to keep grooving. So I'm gonna set the scenario for bullying, the ultimate fight back. Before I do that, I'd love for you to be a part of my channel. TravisBridges2 at AOL.com is how you can send me a message if you'd like to talk to me. I'd love to talk to you. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. No, I'm not a therapist, nor do I try to be a therapist. I'm just a guy who has had some experiences, and I like to talk. I like to analyze. I like to look for things that are pertinent to whatever is going on. Like if it's Wednesday, that's 2 days before Monday, like Monday, Tuesday, went 2 days after Monday, and 2 days before the weekend, Wednesday, Thursday. And, I won't get into it, but I just like talking about things that are relevant to whatever subject is at hand. And sometimes we need someone to talk to. I know I do. Look at me. I'm sitting here talking to myself, and I'm 100% okay with that. Okay, back to the scenario. Bullying, the ultimate fight back. When you think about bullying, you think about kids on the playground. And you think about kids being picked on, and being treated badly and having their lunch money taken and stuff. And that's definitely the idea of bullying. Someone doing something to you that's not necessarily in your control, and they're kind of sort of treating you bad. But guess what? There's different kinds of bullying. You can be bullied, let's say even by a boss on a job. Let's say if you work for someone and you are afraid that you will lose your job. So your boss will break all kinds of work codes and say, okay, well, you need to stay over for this amount of time. Or, they'll threaten you for your, if you don't do this, that, or the other. I mean, come on. You can imagine there's all kinds of ways that a person can be bullied. But we're going to get into a couple of them tonight, and I'm going to get off this subject in another week or so. But thanks for being with me. It's my own therapy, and I have a feeling that eventually someone will be also blessed by it. So, bullying, the ultimate fight back. You ready for the scenario? Okay, here it is. Imagine you have to face something maybe bigger than you. You are either unarmed or maybe even underarmed according to social statuses. You may not have as bigger guns as your opponent. So for lack of a better terminology, I'll say you are unarmed. You are outnumbered. Let's just say there's maybe more than them than you, and they're bigger and stronger than you. What about you not being on your own turf? Man, you might find yourself in some trouble. Can you imagine that? Up against an opponent where you're underarmed, outnumbered, not on your own turf. But what you do have is what all of the underdogs have, and that's what they call fight and heart and truth. Not true even, but truth. Truth within yourself. When you know that you know that you know that you're showing up to a battle to settle an odd, not to be tricked. Okay? Here's another scenario. Your playing field is not even at all. Let's just say you don't know all the rules, and your opponent, just as I said in the other scenario, is not ready to play fair. They are definitely there to kill, steal, and destroy. And there you are with your little outnumbered self and your big heart. Okay? That's the scenario. And that's what I'm going to talk about coming up in just a few minutes. Do me a favor. Hold the spot you got. I'll be right back. Hey, Kimberly, thanks for hanging out with me, and all the other 2 people that's hanging out with me, and whoever else will watch this later tomorrow or overnight or during the week. Don't move.
The Swimming Pool with Travis Bridges is a talk segment about talking. Talk about talking? Yes, talk about talking. It's designed to bring awareness to how we listen, how we hear, and what we do with the information we receive during communication. The mind is automatically programmed to protect the body and soul. It displays that through each and every encounter we experience. If any part of the body is threatened, the mind will automatically issue the flight command. The flight command to retreat to safety. Well, that same command is also deployed when our ego is threatened. The ego, yes, the ego. It's so natural and common, it happens oftentimes without us even knowing. Engaging in conversation and staying focused on what is present is considered mental fitness. It strengthens our emotions and helps us to gain control of our circumstances instead of having our circumstances overtake our thinking and our very existence. It's a difficult task to achieve because our feelings, beliefs, and desires are so strong that it causes us to totally disregard even the most common or basic reasoning. This live stream is only here to bring awareness to that subconscious process. Nothing or no one is actually wrong. However, the idea of being open to anything outside of what we've already concluded is golden, especially if the new information is transparent. The SWYM developers would like to say thanks for supporting, watching, listening, and sharing this information. Now, back to the swimming pool. Let's dive in and swim.
Hey man, how you feeling?
I'm good.
That's good. I have a really good signal, and I know that 5 minutes was like one of those 5 minutes from the pulpit, but maybe you can understand.
Yeah, you closed twice.
I know. Of course you understand. Anyway, thank you for being a part of my live stream, and especially for doing it at the last minute. I've been doing this somewhat post-COVID. Just as COVID started to taper off, I started out with my saxophone when I couldn't work, and I was doing live streams. And after I played the same song so many times, it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something different. You know, what am I gonna do? And since I'm a solo artist, I'm solo everything for the most part. You know, I pulled on my old radio skills, and I thought maybe I can talk. I like to talk, so why don't I put that to work? So I started this live stream, and it's pretty much it's called SWYM. It's the acronym for Say What You Mean. And it's just talk about talking. Oftentimes when we speak, we say what we feel or think or believe as opposed to what's actually coming out of our mouths. You know, our mouths don't always connect with our emotions. And even when we're in communication with somebody, if someone is talking, sometimes they're saying something and we're hearing something different. And I want to bring attention to how we listen, how we hear, and what we do with the information we receive once we have a very clear understanding. Because just as I said, we speak pretty much and we hear based on our emotions, and oftentimes people don't talk to each other because of how they feel or what they thought someone said or what someone, what they thought someone meant. And I just want to bring awareness to going that extra step to talk, to be clear, to make sure you understand what someone is saying, what they really mean, and then have them repeat it again, just for clarity and peace. I think it's worth it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about, but I have a particular topic, and I want all the feedback you can give me on it from all the different perspectives that you may represent, and I just want to talk about it. And I guess we can start our clock right now. I told you I was going to keep you a limited time, and I'm going to try to honor that. What I want to talk about is in this day and time, especially post-COVID, with everything that's going on in the world, many people are finding themselves struggling emotionally, psychologically, definitely financially, and sometimes, it can be overwhelming. Suicide rate is high. People are really acting out, in different ways of, because they let things, stay bottled up inside of them for a long time and they finally break. There's got to be an avenue. And of course, we all have different beliefs, and, we can go to our, inner beliefs, my spiritual beliefs. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe there's a God, and I sometimes tap into, the inner God that's within me, and I can find peace in that way. But there are oftentimes when I get overwhelmed and I have nowhere to go, and I'm speaking for myself, but I'm also speaking, for, representing a whole bunch of other people. So I know this is a long intro, and I'm going to get your feedback. But what I want to talk about is, in particular, is you can go online and Google help for domestic abuse, and what you will find is every other site, north, east, west, and south, as it relates to women, because I guess maybe women are more statistics, so they say, but men keep their abuse, more quiet. And I guess if there was a topic for my live stream tonight, it would be where do the strong go? Because men in particular, we have issues that we are embarrassed to talk about because we don't want to look like a punk, we don't want to look weak, and there's no outreach, there's no government that help men with psychological, emotional, or just things that we deal with when we don't have anyone to go to. So I have a few more things I want to talk about, but I just want your spiel now on what you think about there not being help, particularly for big, strong men like you and me.
Exactly. Wow, that's a good subject. Where do the strong go? Wow. Personally, I go to someone stronger than I am, and a lot of time my faith leads me to going to Jesus Christ or to His Father. But in all actuality, dealing with life in general, we have a spiritual connection, but we thrive for a human connection to go to. We want to go to commonality, like areas. We want to, if I'm having issues in this flesh, dealing with different things, I know that God has opened up an avenue that I can deal with, can go to Him in my strongest but yet my weakest moment. But where do I go in general for that? Having as a big, strong male, regardless of what race, having a true confidant is something that goes waning so many times. We don't have anyone. We don't want to share those things. We don't want to share our feelings. We don't want to, like you said earlier, be looked upon as a punk or someone punking out, or so we are creating a stronghold, a place I can go, and whether I evade that or find comfort or solace in something else, diminish it by looking at it, it's not as bad as I think it is. As Michael, there's one author I know that said, men cry in the dark.
Yep.
We cry in the dark, and we come out of the dark as though nothing happened. But what we really did was just act that away, and it gets to a pinnacle where we receive, get pushed to those emotions of suicide, mental breakdown, collapse. And we've seen that on open stage just a few weeks ago, where, we get to the point where we break. Where is our breaking point? Where are we going to break? When is it going to happen? We hope things in private and not in public. But I think that's exactly where we'll go. Ourselves packing things away, relying on faith, and sometimes that faith is stretched thin.
Yes,
it is.
Okay. On that note, I want to ask you something. My audience, I purposely don't mention names or titles or areas or brands and for a reason, but we know each other. We go way back, and we were, even as kids, we were big boys. But let me just ask you this, and if you don't want to talk about this, it's fine. Have you ever been bullied, even as a big dude? Have you ever been bullied or picked on? Yes or no?
Man, it goes back to middle school. And yes, bullied and picked on. We know there's a guy in class that bullied on two particular individuals that bullied and picked on people, especially the bigger guys.
Right.
But because And a lot of times, well, no time I would fight back.
Right, me too.
And there was
Hold on, I'm losing you for a moment. You said no time you would fight back, and what did you say after that?
There were two reasons, two things that would cause me not to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
And those two reasons would be, I didn't want to deal with my mom at the house while
Exactly.
I got suspended.
And it would be embarrassing.
That was embarrassing and detrimental to myself.
Right.
The second factor is, and this is what I used as my main reasoning, those individuals did not do anything educationally or academically.
Mm-hmm.
They were already failing. Why subject myself to losing anything academically or educationally, dealing with what I really summed up as individuals that had nothing to lose and they were not going to achieve anyway.
Right.
That was my comfort. That's how I dealt with the bullying. But just because you're big doesn't mean you're not bullied.
And you know what? Let me just add a third one. Let me jump in there with a third one. My third one was this. Inside, I always knew that I was a little more powerful than people that would be bullying me, and I always knew that if I really did snap, it would take the whole school to pull me off of somebody, and there would be no coming back. I'm the kind of guy that would go to the end. So I would kind of hold it in and just kind of let it be like that. But go ahead.
That's exactly right, and I understand that, because what would be that breaking point? Because if you knew you were going to get suspended, you knew you were going to have to deal with the repercussions at home, even though from home you were instructed, don't let anybody bully you, but yet you, in the same words, you said, don't get suspended.
Exactly.
So what was I going to do? You know, and if I was going to get suspended, like you said, let's go all out. But like I said, I didn't take that route either. But the route that I chose was each time on individuals that are, and I hate it. I mean, as I look back on it now, it probably wasn't the best scenario, but I looked at them as lost causes anyway.
Exactly.
Why put myself in this boat with them?
Okay. I ask you that question because, I don't know, maybe it's just my way of getting my own therapy. I find when I come on my live stream and I talk, I'm going to say greater than 90% of the topics I talk about don't concern me or relate to me, or not relative to me personally at all. But, you know, lately there have been a few that have been. And when there's different kinds of bullying. You know, somebody doesn't have to get in your face, pointing their finger like in between your eyeballs and breathing in your face, threatening to beat you up with bullying. But people can bully you in so many different ways. And,
exactly.
You know, and there's somebody I know, I don't usually have a whole lot of listeners right now because my live stream is still new, and I'm okay with that because I'm just practicing for the greater days that I know are ahead. But I believe that someone will be listening to this live stream at another time, or maybe even now, that are in a situation where they know if they act out, if they go, you know, all in, that it's going to be bad for the people that are kind of sort of picking on them. And I don't know. I just kind of want to hear from another brother. You know, what would you advise to even your own brother here in this scenario? How do I find that place of peace, man?
Wow. Talking.
And I'm sorry. Hold again. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. You know, I guess I probably should go and spend some money and get a therapist. But, you know, I got a brother in house that I can reach on the phone. So it's your turn. Go.
All right. That's good. So where do I go? Who do I use? How do I deal with it? That's amazing. The thing that I look at, because as you said, bullying comes in so many ways, and it doesn't even have to come into it by way of an individual.
Right.
We're bullied in social class. We're bullied in our financial status. We're bullied in, you know, in our desires, you know, and achievements, political. You know, how do we deal with it? sometimes in the political stream, I want to use my platform that I have and just beat some folk down.
Slay 'em.
At the end of the day, I have greater to lose.
Yes.
And I think that as an individual, what do I do with it? I've got to find an outlet. It goes back to having that confidant. It goes back to having someone that's going to listen to you and without judging you. Someone that's going to be where you are. Looking back at my personal life, I'm in a profession that is looked upon, and I don't mind saying it if you're okay with me saying it.
Go ahead.
And when I was struggling with my own personal demons, I was struggling with my own personal demons, my own struggles.
Okay, your struggles.
So, and the enemy will have you feel like you're the only one going through that.
Mm.
But I was at a position where if I talk about it, how am I going to be looked upon?
Uh-huh.
I had to find a confidant, someone that wouldn't judge me. And man, to my blessed abilities, I found out that I wouldn't only struggle. I struggled with, I'm not even going to I'll be candid about it, that even I struggled with suicide myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I struggle with mental breakdown myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because being a big brother,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
someone that's leading the God. But as I said, angels need angels.
Right.
Men need men. Humans need humans.
Yep.
And understand, God knows everything. He has the answer to everything.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we look at him as not really understanding our plight and what we're going through.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sorry, say that last thing you just said.
I said, God understands our plight. And sometimes I feel that, when I said that he doesn't, I feel like he does it, but I know he does understand what we go through, because through his representative Jesus, he went through the things that we're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes at the end of the day, I want to talk to somebody.
Right.
And I want somebody to talk to me or just listen to me.
Right.
Just hear me.
Right.
Without judging me.
Right.
That's the solace I'm looking for. Hear me without the judgmental, without your bully pulpit, without your never done wrong pulpit, never had a wrong thought. I don't need that. I need real people and
mm-hmm.
a real ear to hear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you about a particular scenario, and it partially involves my case. It's like, and from a spiritual perspective, there's a scripture that says, "Be still and know." When you know that you know, and things don't look right in your favor, what do? I mean, I struggle sometimes with my faith. Don't get me wrong. I am a firm believer, but sometimes I get afraid of the roar. I get afraid of the roar. When I know that I'm safe, I'm okay, I feel guilty sometimes, because it's like, I thought you said you were going to, trust the truth, trust God in this situation. But then why are you worried? Why are you afraid? How do I deal with being not even afraid, but concerned of how, and I talked to someone about this just last week. There are people who are bold and who are what they call, I couldn't remember if it was a martyr or a mortar, how to pronounce it, but people who suffer for the greater of other people. I don't really want to be that guy. Jesus suffered for us. I don't want to, because there's something about people who have a strong belief in what they're dealing with or what they're going through, and they're like Mandela. He spent years in jail because he was standing up for what he believed in, and of course he was freed. And I like to go to, my go-to, the Central Park 5 boys. Those boys were totally innocent, and they went through a situation totally innocent. Of course, the truth always comes out, but look at what they had to go through. Look at what Mandela had to go through. Look at what Jesus went through. I'm saying, like Jesus said in the garden, take this cup from me. I see myself in a situation where it's like, Lord, I don't want to go spend time behind no bars, or I don't want to go. I don't want to be that martyr. I don't want to go through that. But when you know the truth and you have to keep your mouth closed and just wait and allow God to be God, that's kind of tough sometimes. So I'm not going to hold you long. Just tell me, how do I deal with knowing but still being concerned about having to go through that cross experience?
That's the humanity that God allows us to remain in. That scripture you were talking about, Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I'm God. Is that what you were referring to?
Yes, be still and know.
Be still and know that. Okay, how do we do? We want to handle it our way.
Yeah.
We want to be that person. We want to be, come to our own conclusion how we're going to handle it. And we know we should trust God. We know what God did. But ain't going to be nobody's martyr, like you said. I don't want to have to suffer for the favor of other people.
Right.
Let them go through the same things I'm going through with. Mm-hmm. If I got to go through with it, why can't they go through with it?
Mm-hmm.
But the faith of that says, I was chosen for this. And if I was chosen for this, I was built for this. And that's the thing that we have to rely on. That's the thing that helps me sometimes when I get to the point where I have to deal with situations and parishioners, members passing, or parishioners' issues and things, and I'm reminded by God, I was built for this. And I think that's what we discover in life. And what you said about back, we were actually stronger than what people saw in us.
Yeah.
I watched you carry your trumpet case around.
Saxophone.
Your saxophone case around. We were not, I wanted to be in band, but we were not able to be in band, mm-hmm. because of our finances.
Right.
But I look at sometimes the case at one time was bigger than you.
It was.
But you overcame the case.
I did.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay, you about to preach now. Hold on. Let me go get the organist from the back.
Don't do it.
You about to go into the mode right now. I hear you.
But that's what I'm saying. If we persevere with it and continue to bear it, it's either going to do one or two things. Either it's going to break us, but it's really not going to break it. If it does break us, it breaks that thing that we don't need in us anyway.
Uh-huh.
But it's really going to develop us if we keep working at it, if we keep plugging at it. Look where you are. When you were, when we were coming from where we were coming from, the little town we were coming from, and as we look back on it now, how it struggles with crime and wannabe gangbangers and stuff like that. We were just aspiring, man, to do better, to do greater,
right,
to do something bigger than what that situation had to offer us at the time. And I think persevering and meeting it head on, that's how we deal with it. That's where we go. We keep plugging at it.
And on
even
that
if we
note,
didn't win today.
And on that note, I knew where I came from, and even to this day, I think my biggest problem, even as it relates to that, is still trying to keep that image off of me that was placed on me based on where I was from and how I was brought up. I kind of always wanted to outgrow that and get beyond how I know I was viewed by people
that were around me, because I mean, when you think about it, where I'm from is considered, a rough area, and it's gotten worse since I've left. But I've always, even as a kid, said at some point in time, I'm going to get out of this place and I'm going to do the best I can to keep my name, in a good place, and keep, be a person of integrity, and be a person that, my family and friends can be proud of, instead of someone that, thinks of me and shake their head. People may do that anyway, but it won't be because of, anything that I've done actually wrong to anyone. But, I think part of that upbringing is still a part of who I try to be to this day, and trying to keep I guess a good name, and just to be able to sleep at night in general.
Exactly. I mean, and that helps us, right? We remember both have gotten to the place, and it still mesmerizes me sometimes when I look at our classmates that are still living there,
mm-hmm.
and have found comfort there, and survival there. But I don't find comfort there.
I don't.
I don't either. I don't. And so
it's just like that thing is, everything isn't for everybody all the time. Because exactly. I know some people who still live there and are very happy, successful, and content. I knew that when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I'm not going to be here.
Exactly. But we knew it then.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to start my first closing. I wasn't sure what I was going to get out of this conversation with you, but just at the last minute, it's like, man, I know who I can call. I'm going to call my brother, and if he's got time, if it's meant to be, it'll be. If not, he'll just say I must be out of my mind calling him at the last minute. But what you said just a few minutes ago is what brings this thing all the way around for a home run. You took me back to whenever I was in 4th or 5th grade, carrying that case around. I remember when I used to ride my bike from Central back to, I just made it. Well, I used to ride my bike during the summer band, and I would have that big case on my bike. And whenever I got in 5th grade, I started to carry it. And you were right. At times, it was too heavy for me. And I'm telling you right now, I'm getting goosebumps right now with you reminding me of that, and you having that image even in your head, or bringing that, to clear focus now. That was something that one time was very heavy on me. And not only did I outgrow and be able to carry 3 now, plus my rig and a whole bunch of other stuff in my truck when I do gigs, because I started out with just a case and a horn, and now I got a whole mess of gear that I have to carry around. But that was something that is really giving me strength right now, and looking at how I struggled, even with learning how to play and learning how to carry it and put it together, and all the things I've learned since then, to the point now, no, I haven't mastered it. No, I don't think I'm the best, but I'm at a point now where I'm farther than I was. And although I still have a ways to go, I can see massive progress. And that's what I'm going to do with the situation I'm in right now, and even in my effort to encourage anybody that may be listening to us right now. When we're in a situation, it's just like, that train from a distance. We can hear it, we can't see it, and the closer it gets, it's loud, and while it's right up on us, it's rumbling like a tornado. But it too will pass, just like the train in the night, and just like all of our troubles. We are around our 50 year mark, and we've seen things come and go in the past. And just because we're in something right now doesn't mean this too won't come to pass. And that's what I'm going to take from you, my brother. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you an offering. I was singing an offering because I got fed, I got blessed, and I'm grateful. I feel better than I did when I picked up the phone, and I didn't know how this live stream was going to turn out, but I feel good. That's what I'm going to take. That image of how I struggled carrying that case, and how I've struggled now and may struggle in the future, but it does come to pass when you stay diligent in the truth and what you strongly believe in, and not just what you believe in, because there's a difference between believing and knowing. I had that on my live stream. Believing is one thing, but what you know for sure. I knew
that I wanted to pursue music and to be a saxophonist. So that's why I carried that case, and that's why I pursued all the practice time that I did. So thank you for that, man. I'm gonna let you have the last word, but I'm kind of like getting overwhelmed right now. I'm grateful for this time, and I didn't know what to expect, but thank you.
Yeah. That's what I would, if I had to close, it would be that. Keep chipping at it. Keep tugging at it. I think I'm a pretty good pastor preacher, but I've never settled with where I am. I'm always going to strive and achieve and reach for higher and be better. I study to be better. I do whatever's necessary to be better. And that's what I can say. COVID-19, the pandemic it's either done one of two things. People have either succumbed to it, or people have learned to be overcomers.
Right.
And those are the two people that have developed. And I refuse to be complacent with COVID-19 and just being, succumb to it. But I'm going to be an overcomer to be better, whatever the situation is.
Amen.
It's not always going to be that way. If we can make it out of the little town that we came out of, then other people can make it. The struggle is real. But as I would say, keep plugging at it. Find a confidant. Find somebody who's not judgmental. Just to be an ear.
Right.
Just to be an ear. Just to have an ear.
And with that being said, I'm going to be the change I want to see. I've got to keep my eyes and ears open for somebody that may need that very same thing, because we're supposed to be our brother's keeper regardless, So I thank you for that too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we have to do.
Okay.
But I do thank you for considering me for this time. It's good to talk with you always. I used to love you dropping in on my Bible studies from time to time, and I used to tell the people when I asked them to sow into you and you sow into me, I said, look, that's nothing that we prearranged.
Oh, absolutely not. No, man, when I feel it, it's like, man, let me drop something on my brother, man.
Yeah, we weren't trying to pimp offerings or anything.
Nothing, not at all. None whatsoever.
We both know where we came from.
Yes, sir. Exactly. And more importantly, where we're going. And on that note, we're going to go on that and keep going to where we're going, because we both have not reached our point yet, and we still got to keep moving.
That's it.
All right, bro. I love you, man. Thank you so much. We'll talk real soon.
Okay, man.
Okay, 10-4.
Mighty Horn Music. Smooth jazz, top 40, R&B, inspirationals, and more. Live from the Hollywood Home Studio. Like, share, subscribe. And thanks for tuning in. Mighty Horn Music. Mighty Horn Music.
As time draws near and you plan your social events, call Mighty Horn Music for a party you and your friends will never forget. From banquets, receptions, family reunions, and church functions to birthday, executive, or private parties, Mighty Horn delivers. Event packages include live musicians, psalmists, comedians, clowns, and a karaoke show that's guaranteed to make you laugh. Mighty Horn Music specializes in providing a variety of music to keep your guests going for hours. Mighty Horn Music. Let us create a custom sound for your special event. From start to finish, Mighty Horn Music will plan your theme, decorate, cater, and entertain your guests with class and style. This year, make your events live with Mighty Horn Music. Call 786-487-7338, 786-487-7338, or log on to mightyhornmusic.com and let's party.